Welcome to the Vision Creator Podcast, from corporate to creator, with your hosts, Pamela Martino and Debbie Williams.
Hello, hello. Welcome to this episode of Vision Creators. We have a special guest, a really good friend of mine. Her name is Markelia Weaver. And this is a continuation from last week. Debbie, you and I talked about custom building and the general process around custom building. Obviously, we know that it's more than just a 1, 2, 3 step. And I thought the best way to bring our audience in on the details is to have Markelia speak on her process. I had the privilege of serving Markelia as her realtor in her process, and it was absolutely a lot to learn from the process, even for myself. There's always something new to learn. One custom build is not the same as custom build 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So Markelia has so graciously agreed to come on, share her beautiful home with us and her experience of custom building. So welcome, Markelia.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on Vision Creator.
Yes, awesome. And Markelia is a true vision creator. She gets the concept. She and I both, like I said, we've been friends for over 20 years. And so we have both been on this journey of being vision creators and having these visions and now actually seeing our visions come to pass in different capacities. So Markelia is a wonderful designer. We'll get into that later, but let's kick off. And so Markelia, let's talk about your experience, and let's talk about, I have a couple of questions that I've written down, and want you to, share as much as you feel comfortable sharing. We like to be as transparent as possible here on our platform here. And again, we're here to give women a voice and empower our women listeners and our men, of course. So this platform is to make sure that we are heard and seen. And we're going to give this platform over to make sure that that happens. So question 1 for you, Markelia. Let's get started. We have a power pack show, and so I want to make sure we get to all of our questions and points. So just give us a quick summary on what moved you to custom build.
Sure. Well, so I did not set out to build a custom home. I lived in a community. My family and I, we did build a builder grade home in an existing neighborhood. We used one of the local builders, and we had happily lived in that home for, about 10 years upon relocating to Charlotte. And I had done a lot to enhance and upgrade a lot of the builder features in that home. So I kind of customized it in certain ways. But when I looked outside my backyard and outside my front yard in the neighborhood, I desired a lot that.
Uh-oh.
And so I decided that I wanted to be I wanted to be around mature trees on a wooded lot. I also desired more land. And so I convinced my husband, kicking and screaming, convinced my husband to let's sell the house. And we did that. We moved in an apartment for 2 years. And the plan was really to move in for a year and look for an existing home that was in a community that had been established and that had mature trees, because that was really my only goal. And through that process, we stumbled upon our lot where we currently have built a home on. But my desire was not to go build another house, or certainly custom home building was not even a thought. I personally didn't know anybody at that time who had ever built a custom home. I thought that custom home building was for the rich, and I did not see myself as, we had enough to do what we needed to do, but I did not see myself at the level of being able to build a custom home. So we stumbled upon this process.
So would it be safe to say, Markelia, that you did all you could do on the inside in terms of redesigning, but the outside needed some redesigning as well? And so custom home was a good fit relative to you want to custom design not only the inside, but the outside as well, meaning you picked a lot that you can live in and grow from, and then it's just a matter of doing the same for the inside of the house. Is that safe to say?
That's safe to say.
Okay, good.
But let's add the extra layer on, Markelia, that we went through this process of custom building. Well, before you decided to custom build, COVID, we were looking for a house during COVID.
Wow.
So that was what, 2021?
Yes.
And so it was, so we looked at several existing homes, everything that she saw. I mean, it would be 10 people standing outside,
Oh,
multiple
wow.
offers, winning, going in higher, much higher than, the list price, and literally getting outbid. It was so frustrating. It was so frustrating. So obviously that wasn't meant to be, right? Because we stumbled upon this lot. I think looking at the community across the street,
That's it.
stumbled
That's
upon this.
it. I asked Pamela to show me a house in a community that was on my street
Oh,
that I
wow.
live on now. And the community was across the street from this lot. While we were there, we were standing outside talking at our cars because that house actually went under contract. So
Oh,
we
wow.
never actually went we went in the community, but we never got to go into the house that I wanted to see. And while we were standing outside, Pamela said, well, this other address that you gave me, excuse me, from Zillow is on this street. Why don't we go find it?
Oh,
And
wow.
so we started walking. We didn't even get in our cars and drive. We walked from the entry of the community to the street, and we looked, and Pamela was like, it's over there.
Oh,
So we
wow.
walked down the street, and I was like, that's just a bunch of trees. She said, that's the area that you can build
Oh,
your house.
wow.
And I was like, what?
That's
So
awesome.
the listing on Zillow, it did show a house, but it talked about you can build your custom home here, but it did have a picture of a house. So it didn't register for me that there was not a house on this lot, but because it was priced, there was even a price point for it that was in line with my price point.
Oh, wow.
And so come walking down this street, we see that this is the lot. The sign is out front of it that has, the number of the house that corresponds with Zillow. And we immediately started calling the builder because I wanted to go on the lot. I wanted to talk about where the lines are, what the property lines are, et cetera. And so that was the beginning. That was the beginning of this.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So, Markelia, you don't seem like the average buyer though, because you said you want to see the lines and the lots. That's pretty peculiar. Not the average buyer probably wouldn't think to that level of degree. So, why are you so detailed? Or I guess I'm picking up a lot of detail. Or what's the drive or the motivation behind that?
Yeah. So I bought several. I mean, actually, this is my third house. I've not bought a ton of houses, but I know, like, from even living in a neighborhood, right, that your property line ends and another begins. And so I couldn't tell because we were across the street, and looking across on the side that I now live on, there were nothing but trees.
Right.
And so I'm thinking, like, this can't all be.
Oh, wow. So was it all yours? Was it all yours? Markelia, was it?
I think 2 acres. Yours was 2 acres. So she has
one and a quarter.
One and a quarter
acres.
Nice size lot.
That's
Very
nice. That's nice.
Very nice. So
Yeah.
let's go ahead. You have something else you want to share on that process?
I was just gonna share.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
This is what Pamela and we were on this side of the street, and when we looked across, that's what we saw.
No wonder you needed to know where it's like the way
It was woods. It was woods.
beautiful. Wow.
So that's how it started. So Markelia, let's fast forward. Okay, so we got in contact with the builder, we met with the builder, you kind of shared your vision with the builder, everything, the checks and balances were there. I think before he put you with the architect, I think that's when you went to the construction loan process. So for the most part, a loan process is a loan process. You have to get qualified. You have to know how much you can afford, all of those things. The difference, though, with the construction loan, like we talked about last week, Debbie, is that the builder, once the construction loan is approved and closed on, the builder can start taking out draws to start building your house. So you want to kind of go through that process with us, Markelia, and what your experience was? And Stanley, by the way, I don't know if I said that early on. Stanley, who we talked to about maybe a month ago on one of our earlier episodes on financing, he was Markelia's lender. So Stanley is 100% the guy to go to with construction loans. So Markelia, let's talk through your construction loan process.
Yeah. So we certainly didn't know what a construction loan was. And not all lenders offer construction loans. So you go to your traditional lenders, home lenders, not all of them offer construction loans. Our builder referred us to a construction loan provider. And the requirements from lender to lender vary dramatically. And so we honestly didn't qualify for the loan with the lender that our builder referred us to. And so we started exploring, and with the help of our realtor, Pamela, we were able to, reach out to some other lenders and understand what their processes are, because not all processes are handled the same from construction loan lender to lender. And so, we did some due diligence, we did our research, and we were able to find a lender that was willing to, provide us with a construction loan. So construction loans, they cover the cost when you're building a new home, as well as if you're doing a major renovation. And it can finance several expenses. So it can finance the purchasing of the land. Sometimes when you build a custom home, you may have to purchase the land separate or independent of the builder. Our land was owned by our builder. The builder had a sign out. He owned this land. He owned land that spanned to the left and to the right of what would be our ultimately the property that we built on. And so, the construction loan also covers materials, not just the land, but materials, the labor, permits. So unlike traditional mortgages, where you get a lump sum at closing, your construction loan is distributed during phases of your build process, and that's called a draw. And so as your construction milestones are achieved, the lender comes out, does some type of inspection. I was not here when the lender came, but he or she does some type of inspection to ensure that you're ready for the next phase of the financial piece. And then those finances went directly to my builder. I signed off, my lender, Stanley. He then dispersed the funds to my builder. I do know I have a friend who also built a custom home recently after I did, and actually the checks came to her, and she then sent the checks to her builder. So very different. The one thing that I would call out, another difference that I would call out is, as a borrower for a construction loan, you're paying interest only on the amounts that have been drawn versus paying interest on the entire loan from the start. So as our home was being built, we started paying interest only. And then once the final payment was made, then our loan became an official loan where we had to sign closing documents, and we then started paying interest on the full amount of the loan. And so that's another key difference between a construction loan and your traditional home mortgage loan.
That's a great point. That was one thing I neglected to say last week. So thank you for providing that detail. That is interest only until the loan complete, or the home is complete, and then it converts over to a permanent loan is what it's called. So thanks for that detail, Markelia. So so if you're comfortable, I wanted to talk through what things did you consider in designing your home? And, I know, right, because we went through this process together, but Markelia was so detailed. She and I visited, I said about 15 properties. That's what I said last week on our call. I was like, it had to be about 15 properties. We went and you would pull different ideas. And so she knew what she envisioned. She knew what she wanted. And so she after she put her thoughts together, she put everything, sketch it out by hand on paper.
Oh,
And
wow.
I mean, it was a beautiful thing.
Markelia.
So let's talk through. So we talked about, we visited several homes, put offers in on several homes. So she knew what she wanted. Of course, we got outbidded and all those things. So which moved her to custom build. So
Wow.
Markelia, talk through that process of what you were looking to design. And then if you have it available, share with our audience that picture.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah, so absolutely can do that. So, yeah, I had gone to some $1 million communities and, wish upon a star, right? I love looking at model homes. It's something in me. If you want to go to the mall, I don't care about going to the mall with you. I want to go look at model homes. If I pass a community and it's a model home and the price point looks like it's, elevated, luxurious home. I
Wow.
want to go in and I want to see that home. And so I started envisioning, ooh, if I were to build a home, this is what I would want my home to look like, or ooh, I would change this. Like I just really started designing my home
Wow.
well before it was time to design a home. And so I what Pamela's referring to is this diagram
Oh
that
my
you all see
God.
here.
That's
So
awesome.
I would, while I was at a model home, I would ask them for copies of their floor plans. And
Mhm.
so something would work for me, but something else didn't work for me. And so I one day decided I'm gonna cut all these pieces, all these rooms, I'll cut them apart, and then I'm gonna glue them to a piece of paper. And this
That's
is what I
awesome.
want my home to look like. I might not want my foyer here, I want my foyer here, so on and so forth. And so this is an example of my scraps. This is like
That's
on a
beautiful.
napkin, but not really. But yeah, I laid out my first floor, first floor plan based upon several different model homes that I had gone into and was inspired by.
Wow.
And this is what I gave my builder. So the first step in a construction, a custom home build is you got to have somebody to draw up your plans. And so that's an architect. And so the builder has an architect that he worked with, and he would tell that architect, these are the things. Well, I gave him one better. I showed him the things. This is exactly what I want you to draw
So did it
for
turn out
my
that way? Did it turn exactly? Because that's amazing. I mean, you seem like a visionary. When I asked the question earlier about you seem different than the average buyer. You're such a visionary. Vision create hers, right? So I see visionary upon you beyond just what we're seeing. Because this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. This is beautiful.
We'll get to the good part. We can't show and
Oh,
tell yet. We'll get to the good part, the end result.
but did he draw did the architecture draw what you have as a baseline?
he yeah, he did. He started there, and my home was like 5,000 square feet.
Oh, beautiful.
Because what I don't have is, I'm not an expert, so I don't have the sense of, you can tell me a room is a certain square foot,
Sure,
so it's, 17 by 24.
sure.
I don't know what that means. And so the benefit also in going to these model homes and looking at these their plans was I could say, okay, I'm standing in this room. It says this room is, 12 by 12. How does this feel? Is this too small? Is this too
Wow.
big? Would I be okay with it being a little smaller? Because certain rooms don't have to be that size in your home, right? And so it's got to work for you. It's the customization. And so when I gave him this plan, yes, the architect drew it up just like this, and rooms and halls to get to
Sure.
those rooms, which I didn't account for hallway spaces.
Yeah.
All of that ended up being much more square footage than my husband and
Wow.
I needed as empty nesters.
Oh my
So
God.
that was a starting point. It was a starting point. And from there, we were able to say, okay, we need to bring this down because, like Pamela said, this was immediately post COVID. And so lumber was at an all-time high
Sure.
Yeah.
across the country.
Sure.
There were other expenses that were increased as well. It was taking a long time to get delivery on things, supplies for the builders. So a whole myriad of dynamics that were going on. But yes, we had to have him to decrease the square footage. One, we didn't need that square footage. And then two, we really were thinking about the function. And so I didn't know that, but working with the expert that did, we were able to shrink that down, and we had to tweak some things. But I'm happy with the outcome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because I know everyone's probably anticipating they want to see the end result. So Markelia, let's talk about, is there anything that you wish you would have considered, right? And so I know it's easy to look back after the fact, but as you were designing the home, I mean, everything seemed like the perfect, the needful things, right? And so after now you've been there almost 3 years, is there anything that you would go back and add in or take out or, oh
Oh,
yeah,
wow. That's so beautiful. How many
yeah.
square feet did you ultimately shrink off, cut off?
We're at 36. We're at
Oh,
36,
beautiful.
3,800 square feet. So yeah, it was a significant amount.
Wow, that's beautiful.
So now that you've
Yeah.
been there for what, 3 years, what would you add or say, you know what, I would have repurposed this room to be different?
Yeah,
Or everything could be perfect and it is just
yeah,
what you
well,
wanted.
there's always opportunities. You can live anywhere and think of how to do something different. So one of the things that I learned about, so the home is exactly what we need it to be, right? It's exactly what we need it to be. And so I'm so very blessed and grateful for the ability to do what we did and to call this our home. Um, as far as, like I said, we're empty nesters. And so what was important to me was that the home functioned the way we need it to function today, but also for our future. And so we didn't need necessarily a larger home. But we did want our bedroom, our primary suite, to be on the first floor. And so we have a whole primary wing. And we wanted a bedroom, a guest bedroom with an ensuite to also be on our first floor. Our laundry's on our first floor. And so those things were important. We also wanted a layout that would allow us to simultaneously flow from the inside and onto the outside. So we wanted to be able to use both our indoor and outdoor spaces as living spaces, if you will, because of the beautiful climate that we have here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And so those were the things that going in were honestly on my list. It was to cut down as few trees as possible, and then to have those type of necessities. Oh, another thing, I wanted a gym. My husband and I, we was contention upon this because he's like, "Are you really going to use this gym?" I wanted a gym. I felt like I was going to use the gym.
That's
And so I
right.
wanted, sometimes you create spaces and then you use that room for storage. So my husband was really challenging whether or not we needed the gym. That was square footage that he thought we can do it. We can do away with that. And I was like, no, I want a gym. So our gym is on our second floor. We do have a gym. I do use the gym. And so that was one of the things that I pressed on. And I was willing to give up other things, but I needed a gym as well. So
Yes, love that. Love that so much. And the gym actually, so my husband and I are also talking about custom building at some point, and we will replicate some variation of Markelia's gym whenever we get the opportunity to custom build. Because my husband is a avid workout guy. I'm the one that it would have become a storage
So
and
did you do any
keeping my
outside
clothes on there.
renovations? Markila, did you do any outside renovations? I know you talked a lot about the inside. You said you didn't want to touch any of the trees. Did you do anything on the outside? Maybe a deck or, oh my God, that's so beautiful. A
Yeah.
deck or a flower garden or anything?
we
Um,
Yeah, we did. So this is what you're looking at now as the front. That was the front of our house as they were doing our foundation. But yes, we one of the first things, honestly, that we tackled when we moved into our home was the exterior,
mhm.
our backyard. So we are on we're on a crawl space. So our land, this is big learning for me through this process. I learned so much. But one of the learnings that I had was I wanted my back patio to go from my first floor right flat out to the backyard. Well, our topography, which is really the sloping of the land, didn't allow for that. And so we are on a crawl space. And so I had to have a back porch, which I did not want a porch, because porches mean, depending on how high they are from the ground, they might mean you need a railing, you need steps, all stairs, all of those things. And so that's not what I initially wanted, but that's what we ended up with. And so because we had the porch and the steps, we wanted the rest of the backyard to be functional. Again, we are on a wooded lot. We have more trees in the front of our house than we do in the back of our house. And so we started envisioning what could we do with that space. And so we have a large patio. I don't have a picture of that right now, but we do have a large patio on our back, in our backyard, that right off of our back porch steps. We have a fire pit. We have an outdoor wood burning fireplace. Ample seating around both of those. In our fireplace, we have a pizza oven. So we made wood-fired pizzas there. My husband, I say we, I don't cook. My husband has made wood-fired pizzas in the oven. And we love our space. We've done landscaping, but that was a huge expense. But we did that after the build was over, but it was our first major expense, and we've been able to enjoy it for the last 3 years.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
It's a great entertaining space.
Beautiful. We'll have to get some pictures to share after the fact and put them out there for people to see. It's really, really, really pretty. So Markelia, okay, as we kind of go through the process, is there anything, so let's talk about the Meraki Home Designs. And so Markelia also is an entrepreneur. And through her build process, she realized there were some deficiencies of what she could have used assistance in. And so she created this business. It's called the Meraki Home Design. But Markelia, talk to us about what that is.
Yeah. So as we were going through this 18-month process, right, from the time that we located the land, agreed that we wanted to purchase and build with our builder on this land, through the architectural design process, which took quite a bit of time because we were in a queue, right? He was working on other home designs. And so we had to wait for him to be ready to, formally design our home. That took about 6 months just for that process, as well as that during that time we were, exploring and researching our options for our construction loan, as we talked about a minute ago. And so by the time our builder started actually building our house, it was January, and our home was finished by November of that same year, 3 years ago. And so as we went through the process, like I understood, right, custom home, but I could not wrap my mind around all of the decisions that I would really be faced to make in my house truly being a custom home. And so every aspect of my home, right? So you saw the design, the layout, right? That was all custom. But then every element that went into the home, the guts of the home, all of that was a decision. The doorknobs, the placement of the doors, the opening directionally of the doors. Do you want it to swing inside, swing outside? Should it be a pocket door? Should it be a barn? Like all of the things, your doorknobs, your hinges on your door. There were millions, I'm going to say millions, probably thousands, really, but it felt like millions, thousands of decisions, though, that you had to make if the home was truly going to be custom. Now, builders can take liberties, right? They have relationships with people, with companies that they purchase toilets from. So they might say, oh, it's time to install, we're going to install your toilets next week. And I'm like, wait a minute, we didn't talk about the toilets. This is a custom home. system means I get to decide what type of toilet you're going to put in my home. You can't just arbitrarily decide because you get a discount or have a relationship and have used this other merchant for toilets that you're going to just assume that that's what I want in my home. So I had the wherewithal, and I'm very outspoken and deliberate, and intentional. And so I would stop my builder at points where I felt like he was trying to unintentionally harm, right, me, but that he was going to move on with his build process because he had other homes that he was building, and he could just knock this off for me. Well, no, I stopped the process long enough to make sure that my intentions, my desires, my needs were being met at every step of the process. The flooring, the paint color, the trim. Do you want the lines on your windows or do you want just an open window? And then the types of windows. So all of those things were decisions. And I would come to the house and look at the house and bare studs. And I would be faced with a decision to make. And so I'd call my husband and I'd say, babe, what do you think we should do about this? And he said, whatever you want, as long as you don't go over the budget. He was no help.
The budget police.
He was not very helpful. And so he gave me a great liberty, and most women would love that just their husbands to stay out of their way and just do it. But the journey became lonely. And I really needed a second opinion on a lot of things. Wow. I needed someone that would help me to make sure that what I said I wanted, that I was going to achieve it with the decision that I was making. I needed someone to help make sure that I was staying in budget, because I was saying to myself, well, if I spend more here, I'll just take it from here. Right. Because your builder, the way they come about, I'll just interject this, the way they come about, I know I'm all over the place, Pamela, so pardon me. I know you asked the question, but the way the builder comes up with your cost to build your home is they determine, based upon your plan, they determine how much you're going to need for appliances, how much you're going to need for flooring for the house, how much you're going to need for lighting, and they build in the different allowances, is what they call it, for each of those things. And so if you spend more on flooring, you might have to cut a little bit on your lighting, for example. So you're managing those things along with your builder managing those things. You're managing those things because you could go over budget in any of those areas. And then at the end of your process, you have to come out of your pocket some more because your loan was only for a certain amount. And so, as Pamela said, I created my business, Meraki Home Design Consulting, after my process, because I felt like I needed someone to go with me, to journey with me through this entire process. My girlfriends couldn't be that. I'd call a girlfriend and she'd say, oh, I think that's a great idea. That's going to look nice. And then I'd call her for the next question. And she's like, the house gonna be done. I'm ready to come over for the housewarming, the cookout, like they're ready for this process to be done. But this process is a long process. And so you can't just be done like that. And I wish that I had someone to help me make some of my decisions. I feel good about the decisions I've made. And I get lots of compliments from people that visit my home and they say I thought of everything, but it was a lonely journey. And so if you don't have a design eye, and you need someone to help you stay accountable to yourself and to your budget, then hiring someone who can be with you from the beginning to the end. People interjecting their opinion here and there could be a disjointed design outcome disaster in the end, but someone that goes with you from the beginning to the end, to the lighting stores to help you make your selections or to give you a second set of opinions on those selections would have been something that I certainly would have benefited from. So that was how I birthed Meraki Home Design, which is custom home design business. I want to work with people who are building custom homes and need someone like I needed someone to journey with them through the process. to see it through to the end. So that is my business, and that is what I'm available to do for others.
So I'm curious, did you go over budget with all those decisions that you needed to? Were you in
I
budget or
actually
over?
did not. So I was not, because I was so overwhelmed with the decision making. I'm very A-type, right? Very detail oriented, very A-type. I started off with a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, where I told myself that I was going to log how much I
Sure.
spent on everything, but I did not keep up with that spreadsheet.
Oh my.
I was overwhelmed. I was working a full-time job. I was
Sure.
doing design research on what the possibilities were, because I had the layout figured out before we built our house. I didn't have all the paint colors,
Oh
how
wow.
I wanted my fireplace to be. I didn't have all of that figured out. And so that involved a lot of time looking at what other people have done, getting ideas, getting inspiration for all of that. And so I was doing that every night. So I was looking for light fixtures, all of the things, inspiration, and so that I could make decisions. But I ended up, ultimately, to answer your question, Debbie, is I ended up being under budget. Had I known I was under budget,
That's awesome.
I would have done some additional things.
Oh
I
my
don't know if Abby would have allowed you to do it.
Yeah. So what about the name Meraki? Where did that name come? That's a beautiful name. Where
You.
did that name come from?
Yeah, so Meraki, I was thinking of names of for my business, and I wanted it to have a nod to Markelia. And I again was talking to my mother-in-law, actually, and I don't know what made her say Meraki, but she said, look up Meraki. I think we were both Googling kind of names of things. And Meraki means to do what you love, to do what you have passion for. And I am true. This was a labor of love. I enjoyed the journey so much. I really tapped into something that I didn't even know that I would enjoy. And all because it was a gift from God, right? Like I said, I didn't set out on this path. It came to me, and I have no regrets. I have no regrets. And people think I have a good eye for design. So
she has a beautiful eye for design. In fact, Markelia, your house made it into 2 magazines.
Yes.
And so I don't know if you have that available to show us.
Oh, beautiful.
I do.
Go, girl.
So we were in the Charlotte Home and Garden magazine. We were in the center page of this magazine. And then we're also in Home Design and Decor, which is also another Charlotte local magazine. And so our home is in 2 magazines, and we were honored to have photographers come here and to take photos of our home and to leverage them for the purposes of their magazines.
So how's business going so far with that beautiful name?
Oh, thank you. Business is going great. I actually have 3 clients right now.
Awesome.
Business is going absolutely fabulous. And so I have an interior design client, which is related to the work that I want to do. My passion really is around, though, the home building process. And so, but I do have 3 clients. 2 are renovations. This is the exterior of
the exterior of Markelia's house. That's the finished product.
Oh, that is, look at those double doors. Oh my
It's
God.
everything. The double doors are everything.
That is, look at that driveway. That is beautiful.
And it goes all the way up. It's a very long driveway. It's beautiful.
Wow. Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. And then I have 2 other clients that are custom, that are renovations. They're renovating, doing significant renovations in their home, and they've asked for me to assist them with that. And so I have 3 clients right now, and so business is going good.
That's good. I actually see you as a builder, Marky. I see you as an actual builder, as even though I'm not sure what your ability is. Oh my God, that is beautiful. Yeah, I see you as a home builder, Meraki Home Builders. That is beautiful. You see, I see it. We're vision creators. I see the vision. That is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful.
And we'll make sure, Markelia, that all of your contact information is available to our audience. And so, we're springtime now, so people will be getting ready to hopefully start moving and shaking now that our interest rates have come down some. And so people will be out here looking to build and what have you. And so I will make sure that your information is on our site and in the show notes so anyone who's interested in speaking with you, you can go over the process of the Meraki Home Design and what you offer, what you shared here, but any other details that you may want to share with new clients. So okay, so as we begin to start wrapping up, is there anything that you would recommend for anyone who's out here wanting to custom build? You've already dispelled the myth that you thought it was for the rich, and it's not. It's for affordability, people who are on a budget. We'll even say less than $1 million. You can still custom build a home. So hopefully that's been dispelled. Anything else you want to put out there for people who are maybe inspired to want to build, but maybe afraid?
I would say explore your options, right? There are existing homes that are absolutely beautiful. But if you're going in and out of existing homes and you're looking with your realtor, Pamela, and it's been 15 homes and you like this, but this doesn't work, you like that, but that doesn't work, maybe it's time to determine whether or not you can create something that's perfect for you. And that's what a custom home does. It allows you the opportunity to make something exactly what you want it to be. But you have to have either someone with you to journey with you, as I mentioned, or you have to have the time and the stamina and the stick-to-itness so that your home is what you want it to be and not what your builder wants it to be. Just another story real quick. I have a neighbor that lives 2 houses down from me. My builder built five homes, in addition, including mine, that are all along the same main road. And so when my neighbor comes to my house, her house looks completely different, right? Because they're all custom. But when she comes to my house, she's always looking around like, I don't know how you did this. I didn't know I could. She says to me, I didn't know I could do that. And so the whole didn't know you could do that. Custom is exactly what it means. You can do whatever your budget will allow you to do, right? Your builder, the only guardrail that your builder should have when you're building a custom home is affordability. If you want to do this and it's going to exceed your budget, they have a duty to tell you that. And if you have the money to do it, you can do it. But that's really the only guardrail that you should have when building a custom home is you have to build within your means. You have to build what you can afford. And so that's what I would say is don't allow, if you go through a custom build process, don't allow the builder to lay on their design choices for you. Really take seriously the opportunity to make every decision for yourself because you're paying for it.
Love it. Love it, Markelia. Thank you so much for all the insight. Hopefully, our audience will go back and listen to part 1 before they come to part 2, because then it will all tie everything in together. And then they'll also get to see your beautiful end result of your home. And I thank you so much for sharing that with us and with our audience. And I hope there's many people out there that will be inspired by that, and that all of us have a vision on the inside of us, and that now hopefully people are encouraged to bring that vision to pass. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing with us, and we will again put everything out in the show notes. And everyone,
like, comment, and subscribe.
Comment, and subscribe. And thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you.